We can't think of a better conversation to have. Life is complicated in practice, and in theory, it is so simple. The laws of the universe are so consistent and straightforward, as is your inner being. And so connection to inner being is what's got to come first. That's why we say, get out ahead of it as best you can. And most important, us to you right now, we want you to not be hard on yourself because you've been trained in this world. You want to be real, first of all. And if you don't know where you are and own where you are, you won't feel the motion forward. Esther really likes it when she has an experience that is contrasting big time on a subject where she's had other contrasting experiences big time. Only this time, it does not take her off her game, where every time before it did. In other words, she knows she's getting it. She's still having knee-jerk reactions, but she doesn't suffer for days over it, or hours over it, or more than a minute or two over it, because she's not willing to. She's been down that track enough. She's no longer trying to prove her worthiness to whatever through her suffering. And it's time for you to stop that. You can be a good parent and have rotten kids, because they're not really rotten. They just are in this moment. You can be a magnificent, deliberate creator and lose your empire and have financial bust and have another divorce and another bad experience. You can be a really good creator and still have not everything in your life going perfectly, because this is how you decide what you want, and this is how you get better and better at it. And it's the better and better at it that's the fun of life. Not one of you said, oh, I'll go forth into this physical body. I'll go. But before I get there, clean up all the mess so that when I come in, everything's nice and smooth for me, so that I can just observe and be happy. Not one of you said that. Every one of you said, I'm ready. I'm ready to mix it up. I'm ready to find my balance. I'm ready to jump in anywhere, see where I am, want more, find my way to it, and eternally evolve. And your inner being says, this is going to be a really good time, and we've got your back, and we won't tell you what to do, and we won't set the course for you. But when you decide, we're with you. And we will collect the data from your data. We will collect the upper end of the emotional chart on every subject in your life. And we will offer a signal about that so that you will never really be lost. And we will give you moment-to-moment feedback about where you stand with what you've asked for. Hear that? Where you stand with what you've asked for, not where you stand that you're supposed to ask for, or not where you stand that we as your inner being would prefer that you ask for. There isn't any of that. You're all creating your steps along the way, you see. In the early days, people would say to us, Abraham, I really like this. I'm meditating. I'm feeling good. I'm enjoying my life. But those people at work are so negative. And then we would say, there's some of everything there, and in every one of them, there's some of everything, because every person you know is like a whole football field full of clumps, depending upon the topic. They're tuned in on some of them, they're guarded on some of them, they're in love about some of them, but they are trending and they are moody. But we just want you to be aware of your vibrational stance, which is to say, to be in control of your consistent mood. And then everything else takes care of itself. And then there's that story that we often tell you that points out how ridiculous it is to approach it in any other way. So you have all of these things that you need from people. And so you make a list and you go out into the world and you announce to the world, here I come and I'm going to run into you. And if I do, these are the things I need from you. Here's my list. This is what I will be needing from you. So watch for me. Here's my picture. I'll be out there. Watch for me. And if you happen to run into me, I need these things. Well, it's ridiculous, of course, overwhelming, of course, could not happen, of course. Or the alternative is you can tune into who you are, and then the law of attraction will bring to you your list. Sometimes people think that when we talk about being allowing, that we mean tolerant, which means putting up with all the stuff that you don't want and just not saying anything. Well, that isn't what we mean at all. We mean tuned so that that stuff doesn't keep coming to you and you have to keep fighting with it, keep tripping over it. Let's start here. We've been offering a way of looking at humanity on your planet. And we say, imagine a football field and everyone's on it. And the football field is divided into clusters by the human perspective. In other words, the Republicans are all over there in a little pile, and the Democrats are all over there in a little pile, and Catholics are over there, and Mormons are over there, and Baptists are over there, and gay people are over there, and straight people are over there, and. Lots of clumps of people who have gravitated together because so often as humans, that's the way you feel the best. If you're around people whose opinions are like your opinions on the subjects that are important to you. And so there you all are. And we've been saying a lot recently that there really are only two clumps that are important to notice. And that's those who are in this moment in alignment with their inner being and those who are in this moment not. And then we go on to explain that in each of those clumps that has been self-assigned by the human perspective, there are some in alignment and some not, no matter what group they are in. So that's a good way of looking at things, isn't it? It helps you to understand. So then, talking about this synthesizing of thoughts. So then, the clumps are not very well managed because you all have different layers of how you've been trending. A lot of it has to do with what your mother thought or what your father thought or what your schooling was or who your peer group is. So what we're really talking about, a good word to describe what we're getting at here is the word opinion. An opinion is what's active within you on a subject. We've been saying to you for a while that a belief is just a thought that you continue to think. It's a thought that is trending within you. And that belief, or those beliefs, any belief, is a strong point of your attraction. And so most humans have a really difficult time trying to manage all of that. They're trying to persuade other thinkers to think more like them. And most of their life experience is about their clumps and how big their clump is and how influential their clump is and what to do about the other clumps. And all of that has nothing to do with who you really are and what you really want. Because the clumps are not doing the most important thing that the clump that is you is doing. They're not coming into alignment and then. And that's really the point that we're getting at. When you understand that you have an inner being and how important your relationship with your inner being is, so you make that primary. So you do the things that tune you up to that. And then you're of value. Opinion maybe isn't your favorite word in all of this, but it's a fine word to explain perspective. When you are merged with, meshed with, tuned in, tapped in, turned on, blended with, in any moment in time, your inner being, you can be sure that your opinion, your thought about it, is good for everyone, not just for you. Because under those conditions, your selfishness includes all of them. When you're tuned to your inner being, then the frequency of them that matches your inner being is all you have access to. So the parts of the clumps that are overwhelming and taxing and tiring don't apply because you have, in a sense, trained your vibrational muscle into that place of alignment. So you just see the best in everyone. But here's the clarification that you might be looking for. And that is feeling that you want to do that in the way that we've just described it is such a nice way to live. But being guarded about what others may be, which is what makes you not want to be part of any clumps. When you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on, you're looking for clumps. You're looking for the harmony in all the clumps. And you know what? There's harmony in every clump. In every single one of them, there's something delicious and resonant for you all to co-create on, even if they don't know it. You are source energy who came into this physical body knowing that there was a lot of variety to choose from and knowing that there would be contrast. And you knew that from that contrast that you would choose, decide, and then calibrate to your decisions. What you didn't remember is that you did not say, I'll go forth and I'll calibrate and then everybody else will line up in response to my calibration. That's what messes with the minds of so many deliberate creators. It's like, Abraham, it's not working. I lined up, I felt good, I went where they were, and then I didn't feel good, so it must be their fault. We say, well, they were just part of the massive opportunities to give your attention. In other words, you're the one that gets to focus wherever you focus. But you know, the more you care about feeling good, and the more you do feel good deliberately, and the more you feel good when it's easy to feel good, then the easier it is to feel good when it's not so easy to feel good. Until before you know it, you just feel good most of the time. Esther said yesterday, she said, I'm almost manic. I'm so happy. She could just feel. She could barely contain. You want to feel in love with life like that, but you don't always. Sometimes there's just a convergence of the perfect storm of happiness, the perfect day, all kinds of lovely memories, sitting across a table from lovely people, sitting there with your sister who you love more than life. The weather feels good. You're back doing what you love doing. In other words, the convergence of everything. Esther could not contain herself. And she might say, I want to always feel this way, but she's not going to always feel like that. People would lock her up if she was running around with that kind of zestful love for life in every moment. In other words, you're adapting to situations, you're sizing things up, you're doing the best you can from where you are, you're making the best decisions from where you are. Everything's flowing along, but the most important thing is the big picture is working out for you. And for everyone else, it's working out for you.